drones and missiles. How much do we actually know?
Well, I'll answer that. I'm just listening to the previous speaker, and I've just read a book on the period leading up to 1939. And our ambassador in Berlin had similar delusions about the Germans.
Well, Chris, you know, the thing about GB News is I've given some very strong opinions at the top of this show. We do allow other opinions, and we treat our viewers. We think our viewers are big enough and ugly enough to make up their own minds, but I'm absolutely with you.
Because it's ironic when he said, you know, the future concerns the past, you know, and the present. It seems to me that the Foreign Office hasn't been thinking about the past in anything to do with Iran. And I have to say, some of the factual information there is at odds with what I think has happened, but there we go. Anyway, let's get back to real men stuff. Okay, yeah, the Royal Air Force, fantastic, has taken part with the Israelis and the Americans in a very complicated defense package. And I think what was interesting about what the Israeli ambassador said is the intent was to hurt Israel. It doesn't matter, you know, what happens in the end. The intent was to put 330 missiles and drones onto Israel, most of it into urban areas. The fact that the Israelis ourselves and the Americans were competent in shooting them down is irrelevant. That was designed to be a major hit, and it didn't work.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So what happens next, Chris? We just stay there and we intervene again if Iran tries again?
I think the smart move, Nigel, is for Israel to say, you know what, we owe you one, and we're going to hold you at risk. And we're going to, at some stage in the future, if you can really misbehave, we're going to wallop you. But I think it won't be smart to retaliate at the moment. I think the Iranians have got to never know the time and place at which it's going to happen. That way, you stabilise, you act as a restraining influence. In the meantime, you get on with Gaza, you get on with dealing with the Houthis, and at some stage, I think Hezbollah as well. Otherwise, poor old Israel's going to be an armed camp for the next 10 years or so. So I think what you do is you put the snake to one side at the moment, and you deal with the little snakes first, and then see what appetite Iran's got. I think there's a race against time. Because I think the Iranians have been working on their nuclear program. How naive was that? And they will get it around 25, 26. And if you remember, Nigel, the JCPOA said they could have it in 2025. That was part of the deal.
Chris, the whole thing is utterly bonkers. I agree with you entirely. Thank you once again for joining us on the programme.